Rational thought from one intelligent species to another. Rationally thinking, our perceived human thought and wonder is of our simulated existence and not of the original intelligent species at all, but we are related, if not by form but by image. Splitting hairs with the real Illuminati. Illuminati, which comes from the word enlightened, whether fictitious or real enlightenment founded in the 18th century. A secret society of and for pure enlightenment. Designed as a somewhat balance of power. A secret governing force of all governors of power to eliminate the possible misuse of authority against the people. To an extent, stamping out religious state influence, superstition and obscurantism that only acts as to stall further human inquiry and reasoning. Numbers that echo of a shared universe. When do numbers start to exist? Just like our human consciousness really exists because of human consciousness, a paradox. Numbers or code or algorithms exist once we are aware of them. The old head in the sand saying, for if on the other end of the universe we discover an answer to life echoing back to Earth, surely there is life in the universe that is depending on others for scientific enlightenment. Why it is almost impossible to see beyond 2049 for the theorists anyway. The technology, the ability and even the justification to build large, living simulations is a heartbeat away, so to speak. Legal and ethical red tape will be overcome by the ever-heightening wave of the new enlightenment. This future society we excitedly look somehow forward at. Is this society only a slightly different thinking one? Casting our thoughts forward and back through history, we can't dismiss the probability that even we are a part of a living simulation. An intelligence so advanced that even the dimensions we have become used to observing are oblique and antiquated next to our enlightened multi-directional pathways we will no doubt take for granted in years or points in time to come. The numbers that are the shapers inside a perfect universe? The number patterns being discovered or created. Human smarts versus artificial smarts, and is it even a question? Cognition of the humankind, created in the image of us, performed by machines and given momentum by us, for us the biological intelligent. Computer algorithms that shape the instructions for the machines. They shape the artificial neural network like ribbons sphering their way across. Just as every single thing has a mathematical formula, creating the code or discovering the code is the question. Numbers or code or algorithms exist once we are aware of them. The old head in the sand saying, for if on the other end of the universe we discover a calling card answer to life echoing back to Earth, surely there is life in the universe that is depending on others for scientific enlightenment. Will humans one day endeavor to become the police of the universe? The science gurus of the universe? The saviors? For becoming the police of the universe, one merely needs to demonstrate sophisticated scientific wonder and great mediating prowess. If science is the study of everything, if philosophy and numbers or the shapers of numbers are the be-all and end-all to vast progress of intelligence, then we are the lucky rare humans that tripped over the apple in the first place. The rare godlike minds through our history that have sparked their jolt of new thinking into humanity's evolution. These amazing minds, if us as human take for granted the numbers game of chance in the 1 in a million of great minds like Da Vinci, Plato, Gutenberg, Pascal, as other Earth civilizations may not have been so lucky. As everything we see, touch and think comes from shaped algorithms, we are still head-deep in sand when it comes to fully understanding just a glimpse of the potential these number codes can and will materialize for every living soul. The singularity of intelligence is in some ways here already. The event horizon of real singularity is still yet to come. These numbers and shapers of numbers will enlighten the thirsty, and just maybe there will spring a new agenda to reverse engineer the universe to perfect the universe and what lies ahead. Do we exist in a dream? Could we or should we one day break out of the illusion? Holoverse or Simulverse, no longer a strange, bizarre or quasi-theory, as many a scientific mind of the respected are leading this way in thought or theory. The discoveries of the scientific many have their beginnings as mere theory, and usually crazy and far out sounding in their early days as a world that's round. Is there really such a thing as a universe? Is it virtual reality so far advanced there is no way of telling the difference? Evidence of our past theories proven show us hope that at least one way or the other before too long will definitely be proven once and for all. Do we exist inside a dream? Do we exist inside someone else's dream? What if we were to break out of whatever illusion we are in? Would we cease to exist, on the level of existing we currently know, or is there so much more? These illusion theories go way back in history to the ancient Indian philosophers through to modern quantum scientists working equally from philosophical standpoints to support the science of tomorrow. This is the never-ending question of the conscious mind, and really how conscious is true consciousness, or is ignorance bliss? New World Order of the New Illuminati and the Earth Conspiracy? Or our first go-to instinct? Whether it's controlling world affairs through conspiring and masterminding, the lurking in the shadows of the Illuminati have been linked with big corporation and big government to maintain or to achieve their ultimate ulterior motives, covet, New World Order, or more. The Illuminati have been linked with conspiracy, whether to be proven true or not, from ancient Greece, the Trojan War, Leonardo da Vinci, the French Revolution, the Great Depression, AIDS, Presley, Lennon, JFK, Apollo 11, 9/11, Trump, Beyoncé, reptilians, inner Earth, Holoverse. Although the term conspiracy theory has only been around since 1909, history going way back has and always will be packed with whopping good never-ending conspiracies linked to the Illuminati. For thousands of years the gods have been inexplicably aligned with the otherwise unexplained, until more recent historical events the world has pointed its obligatory finger at the Illuminati and the New World Order, and this plot only thickens. Whichever way we look at conspiracy, the Illuminati are often central, to the theorists at least. But first we need to eliminate the possibility that the Illuminati itself is merely a conspiracy theory and itself deflected ownership away from the true culprits. Designed and built by something much larger, much more nefarious and near impossible to pinpoint machinations and motive. Illuminati, which comes from the word enlightened, whether fictitious or real enlightenment, founded in 1776. A secret society of and for pure enlightenment. Designed as a somewhat balance of power. A secret governing force of all governors of power to eliminate the possible misuse of authority against the people. To an extent, stamping out religious state influence, superstition and obscurantism that only acts as to stall further human inquiry and reasoning. The enlightened Illuminati, through its operating history, attracts the like-minded, awakened and resilient to the mass control of church, government and large corporations. But the conundrum is WHO, or what becomes the central controlling authorities in those of the awakened? Who made who, and who is in control of whose perceived real ideologies? Many current world organizations claim to be real Illuminati, using various titles. However, such groups still don't possess the power or influence over real government affairs as they proclaim to wield. These organizations, paradoxically by boasting what they stand for, sure enough are not the real descendants of Illuminati, as by boasting of their very existence goes against everything the real Illuminati stood for and stands for and still stands for today. Nevertheless, if even loosely adhere to other spirit and ideologies of true enlightenment, then any resemblance of truth and awakening in our current day and age is a pure welcome stranger is Illuminati. Who are the new conscious observers? If everything is measured and explained with mathematics, then the pieces that make us up are the answers. Like a computer game, life as we know it are the pixels. Our behaviors are all broken up into blocks. The tiniest measurable pieces of matter and time are finite. Are we observable from outside our own observable reality? Is there intervention from outside? Actual original realities, if they still exist, hence the expiry dates of humans, planets, stars and universes, as far more sophisticated, complex, dimensional, than what we could ever conceive. If all this were true, would there be a way to break out of the simulation? Is the boundary the outer limits of our universe, the edge of our solar system, or in our minds among us dimensional, concurrent realities of the physical and time existing in the same place all at once? Just as with new belief systems we acquire new belief systems on top of these belief systems become easier to fathom, upon a neuro-based structure of reasoning, hence Copernican heliocentrism. Once humanity could see the solar system through the eyes of Copernicus as Earth not being the center of everything, other cosmic thought and knowledge fell into place far easier. Previous to this breakthrough of Copernicus, it was completely understandable for humanity to believe we were the center of the universe, and why shouldn't we, humanity's ego, have believed that? Further breakthroughs without denting our egos too much, and we just may be a component in a much larger scheme of things. As the evolutionary theory of molecules evolving from volcanic lava through to finally self-aware intelligent humans discovering the cosmos and questioning our own reality. An evolution of being that no doubt borrowed from the odd piece of luck thrown in, and this dismally narrows the chances of other intelligent life in the cosmos that evolved like us, that is, taking cosmic luck out of the equation, and we have superior intervention. Putting a real label on this superior intervention will be the new big breakthrough. As video games, simulations improve over the next 2 decades, so too will our own expectations of a video world created. Progress in these simulated worlds will inevitably become more rich than the world we see and feel around us. More meaning, reason, contentment, love in life shared by the human players and observers. Is it any mystery where and what our own next move will be on the video game of new observation? Conspiracy theory. Will the world be a better place without the use of the term, or is conspiracy here to stay? Conspiracy theories somehow always cop a bad air about them, and whenever the term conspiracy is used, falsity, irrationality or even madness is also loosely implied. The reality of the matter is that everyone conspires to some extent. Legally or morally, we all bend the truth ever so occasionally. Human behavior is historically without complete innocence of conspiracy of some sort. Politics is and has all too well known as rife with conspiracy. The influential, powerful, media, government and wartime spies among the biggest conspirators manipulating the truth for their endgame is all in a day's work. Being aware that throughout history there has been ongoing conspiring should actually enlighten, and if people conspire, then it shouldn't be too much of a hard stretch to accept conspiracy theory, whether true or not, as an everyday occurrence. This being accepted should only make conspiracy theorists more accepted and not readily labeled as mad but necessary madness of beings as such. Often throughout history, numerous old conspiracy theories humanity has balked at have now been widely accepted as fact. Behavior modification, experiments by the United States Central Intelligence secretly using LSD among other drugs on volunteers, and later on non-suspecting non-volunteers. This was for many years widely brushed off as mere conspiracy until of course truth surfaced. This spurious experimentation also sadly left many with permanent brain damage. MKUltra was the code name for this top-secret program. Mad conspiracy theory later confirmed to be true. John Lennon wasn't very much liked or trusted by the US government owing to his extremely influential anti-war songs and stance. The mad conspiracy theory of the time was that Lennon was being spied upon by the FBI. Although truth be told, Nixon sure enough had Lennon under FBI surveillance in fear of Lennon being a real threat to peace. Mad conspiracy theory later confirmed to be true. Galileo Galilei, Nicolaus Copernicus, Hollow Earth, Roswell, the Illuminati. Truth is that just like many other theories as in science, psychology, environmental, fake news, simulated, parallel universes, Hitler on the moon and the Me Too movement allegations, sometimes these are true, sometimes not. Reality is the term conspiracy theory achieves a wider definition of meaning the more attention one gets or not. Just as gaslighting has been a powerful tool to disempower the mad conspiracy theorist and manipulate us away from truth, an openness of mind can reveal far more beneath the surface than curbing theories ever will. A Russian doll universe? Dash the code of all codes. The theory, or reality, that we are simply a code created by Codex. While it is good philosophy to wonder about our tiny selves in this universe, how we fit in with the scheme of things, and how we improve or even want to improve if all this were true. Throughout history, humans have made their own simulations for one purpose or another, and inevitably we are all collectively heading toward that special place in time where we are able to manufacture the perfect simulation. This will scientifically prove to ourselves once and for all that the us are existing inside of other simulations and so on. One of many Russian dolls, just the beginning. We already adopt the powerful outputs of coding into extreme research possibilities. This data we call information. We then figure out ways to reach even further with no end in sight. Whether this capability be used in scientific research, gaming to entertainment, education to spawn new hunger for further research, spurious intelligence and/or war. Simulations that we create of other living beings shine a whole new light on complex behavioral systems such as bees and ants for directional systems and other minute behaviors we haven't even started to fully understand as yet. All this and right through to the behavior of galaxies or even the human soul. The thought of implanting pure human decision-making into these computer programs we are developing to human cognition and reasoning working together with machines and transport. Simulations developed by us will safeguard the safety of such exercises by simply being born out of earlier simulations, systematically irradiating the error out of old trial and error. The ability for us to create automatons not with artificial intelligence but with pure consciousness. Ironically, further advanced experiments in quantum computing simulations will take us even closer to the whole mapping of our very own thoughts and what we are going to think next. The vast number of these simulations may even start to take on a whole new consciousness of their own and possibly leave us completely out of the loop. Realistically, there are statistically millions of other intelligent life systems like ours that are even far more advanced than ours, with real probabilities that these beings have already reached or surpassed this point. So what then? Law of averages adds more and more weight to this supposition every day, taking science fiction theory to science fact, and drawing our what-if scenarios to new heights ever so upwardly. Human endeavor to persevere in this direction outweighs the religious creationism's fear of futurism, as the sound humanistic ethics far outweigh the desire for scientific ignorance and entropy. The clues are right in front of us, The definitive fine-tuning of the quantum physics of life around us is the mathematics of the engineering. Numbers that hold the universe together, numbers that hold our bodies together. We are intrigued by these same numbers, constantly on this human journey of knowledge to one day have the power ourselves to one day emulate the universe and beyond. Numbers and components in nature, however how minute they are, being the calling card clue to intelligent design of the human race. Life is impossible to go on or even exist without intricate tuning that makes it possible in the first place for the valid system to appear and exist. The gears of our universe, in a bubble, an eternity of big bangs? Observations of our universe as being not unlike a bubble, an expanding bubble, and we, somewhere on the outskirts, waking up, going along for the ride. These were just some of the observations of Albert Einstein last century to enlighten the world. Taking these theories a touch further and going back, we trace our beginnings right back to this bubble starting the ball rolling, so to speak. This bubble's beginnings being possibly an idea that could easily fit through the eye of a needle. This eye of a needle notion of the bubble we are on sure enough had its originating point. This originating point back in time, or infinity, isn't an isolated occurrence, but part of countless, an ongoing gear-like mechanism of infinity causing further bangs as a reactionary miracle of energy and emotion. Over and over the echoes sound, and if history repeats as history does, then Einstein's theory of last century beckons the new question of what is their new bubble breakthrough, and how will it look and correspond to its ever-increasing energetic neighbors? And will we even comprehend the question on arrival? Destination, simulation unveil and the real food chain. The flicker of awareness, the thoughtful designer, successful universes, immaculate perception of being, the serious series of simulation universe. In order to ensure stability in the simulation awareness, we must practice unpredictability. Echoes of the vibration are at their loudest when events do not go as planned. We enter closer to the field of the ether level in vibration the more we embrace unpredicted events, big or small. We move closer to the originals by shaking the information list in an observed way of the unexpected, for all our universe is a stage. Aside from striving for better and more complete lives through our human existence, we now have a speck of knowledge that we all may be observed either lovingly or spuriously. Each flicker of truth changing our very outcomes depending on our own determination. Awareness of being collectively monitored can surely lift our standards and better self-observe how we treat others. As for the question of our simulation builders being either loving or spurious, it is of far more matters of interest to be loving, as this is what truly brings harmony and insight into such an organized creative concept as the one we live in. Scientific instinct tells us that the spurious, regardless of the countless movie synopsises of this nature, would unquestionably rub themselves out of existence almost right at the beginning if on the side of the malicious. The innate spirit of love dominates our planet's existence, therefore if we as a simulation are the product of the original, then the original beings innately are teeming with love for this love to play any kind of role in the simulations. We are beyond juvenile existence. Envisioning the characteristics of the originals really depends on the evolutionary zone we are in, as the unique ingredients of every zone throughout our simulated universe varies immensely, so does the look and appearance of higher simulations and thus the look and appearance of the originals. Some of these appearances may be incomprehensible to our juvenile existence, yet sharing the common thread of endearment. As for atomic structure of beings, this is something far beyond the simulation veil, but as for the efficient workings of humans, as we know it, great chance is that evolution shares a common destiny, as this is possibly what the simulation builders are monitoring: commonality of structure. to understand fully the workings and the veil of simulation may take humanity 1,000 years, even 1,000 years after venturing out of our own little solar system. The choices we make along the way in understanding our own reality as it unfolds and expands is probably the noblest journey we can ever partially comprehend. It would achieve nothing if not negative results to belittle the simulated reality around us, slowly simulated or not. For some, the cognitive absorbing impact may be too precarious and may ignite negative harming responses to themselves and those around them. Gently as we awaken. The hamburger question. As growing evidence of all we see around us not being what we think, stacking up higher and higher. After our beginning Big Bang there was and is radiation, in the form of cosmic microwave background. If our existence as we know it just happens to be a hologram of some sort, the vast amount of information that makes this up for us humans through our 5 senses is perceived as being in 3 dimensions. This information must be stored or comes from a 2-dimensional starting point. A perfect hologram or a perfect universe of illusion? A hologram of a hamburger comes from or is projected from a 2-dimensional starting point. If this hamburger had feelings and spatial awareness, the hamburger would be convinced of the perceived reality of the intended hamburger as being real. Us as humans know better though, as we were the ones who built the hologram hamburger, and we as humans know that the hamburger doesn't really exist. Apply this to our own 3-dimensional universe originating from a 2-dimensional starting point that we cannot nearly comprehend. Tangible elements of this universe all around us that we touch and perceive to be the real thing being in fact a hologram, a perfect hologram we do not question nor need we question? The food chain of simulation, and where do we stand? The possibilities are endless of large human-like self-aware races having the nature and the capabilities to create a simulation for and of themselves. All this leading to the reality of simulations within other simulations and so on. This suggesting that there are very high chances that our universe is in fact one of the many simulations within simulations and so on. The probability of whether we are living in an advanced computer simulation is a very old one, going back a long way in philosophy. The very probability of reality and what is reality. If we have the mental capabilities to ask these questions over and over throughout history, then what is to say that we do not have the capabilities to disassemble portions of our perceived reality and start building our own convoluted one? This intriguing notion and the notion of what is the nature of the simulation, a truthful lie or a deceitful lie? Are we designed to go down this rabbit hole? A computer simulation's inhabitant thinks, therefore the computer simulation's inhabitant must be. This doesn't prove self-awareness or other simulation theories, but does simply prove existence is real. But what kind of existence? A natural human existence, or a designed existence with a veil over our consciousness? If we have such thoughts and philosophical questions about life, then we certainly do exist somewhere, in some shape or form or thought. The builders of our reality surely didn't build this reality to fool us. Reality may just be too astronomical to fathom that our consciousness fools itself, just as we dream for all kinds of reasons. Not for trickery in itself, but for realignment of the psyche and survival. Examining the reality possibly that we are inhabiting an extremely sophisticated simulation, one that is so rich in its spectrum of constants that'll keep its inhabitants busy for quite a while. A sophisticated enough simulation that us as inhabitants will one day learn the technology ourselves and be the builders of other worlds and universes. We must be scientific and mature enough to realize the probabilities. It would be comically conceited of us to claim that we are the original, or even a simulation of the original, but more feasible, far down the food chain of successful universes, but not necessarily a bad thing. Astral sphere to empowerment. Astral energy to empowerment, although not usually sensed by our human senses, are our spiritual astral bodies that are utilized on a daily and nightly basis for many benefits we're aware of, and many benefits we're not aware of. This empowerment, our astral states and energies are housed, forms itself into our physical bodies and lives. Our experiences and circumstances of the right here, right now are attended to through this other dimension and of our physical existence. This is our body of light that travels to and through the astral plane whilst we are at the enabling frequency during this sleep or deep meditation. We synchronize our own consciousness to meet and enter into our astral being to utilize this psychic energy to empowerment. This is achieved purposely by entering into astral-inducing stages of sleep or a practiced meditation that welcomes this state. We stand far more successful outcomes of this practice when we think and focus in the way of vibrational levels. While on our way to these vibrational levels, we should keep in mind our intentions, these intentions either ranging from a healing of some sort, an awakening, a vision, or purely for empowerment in the astral and physical world. We ask for astral direction, revelations, guidance, etc. These astral guides we reach out to are coexisting in different dimensions in the astral and play different roles depending on what we are reaching out for. These guides, loosely termed, vary from messaging, energy lifting, power healing and so on. Firstly, we should have a priority of desire and ask for the right appropriate guides and guidance. This focus of importance will keep us positively surrounded by the correct energy sources that are right for us. While in this deep astral state, in either method we learn of the different ways of communication, either out of pure intuition, from out of our lucid dreaming states, or from an astral vision, and so on. The most important thing to do after this practice is listen and open up to our own intuitive senses.